But it's like once you pass a certain threshold, then it's just unnecessary. Like you really don't need that much clothes. And hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobras Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. Today's video is going to be how to stick to your low buy, a minimalist guide. So without further ado, let's just get to the video. Let's get it, let's go. Woo! Before we get started, as usual, some housekeeping. If you wish out to help out my channel, consider checking out my Patreon. And if not, then just give this video a thumbs up, a like, and a subscribe to help me out with the algorithm. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. I kind of want to mention why I'm doing this from a minimalist guide. If you haven't watched my channel before, or if you're new here, you might not know, but the main reason I became a minimalist was actually due to financial reasons. I had a very large student debt of $70K that I needed to pay off, and I wasn't gonna do it spending my money on, useless junk. So this is just kind of like tips and tricks and things that I use that helped me stick to a low buy, and I hope that it could help you stick to yours and reach your financial goals. Okay, number one, sleep on big purchases. When I was paying off my student debt, I really wanted to buy shoes. I don't know what got into me, but I really wanted to buy shoes. I guess I was influenced by Will and David, who are sneakerheads. But one of the things that really helped me a lot before I bought something that was kind of pricey or like outside of what I felt comfortable was I would tell myself, go sleep on it. And I would sleep on it for several nights. And if I still felt like, you know what, that thing is really going to add value to my life, then I would go back and I would purchase it. But sleeping on it definitely helped avoid some impulse purchases. And there were a couple times where I was just like not having it, so I would buy it then and there, and I totally regretted it. Like impulse purchases, for the most part, I always regretted. But if it was something I slept on and I went back and I bought, I always felt very secure and very comfortable, and I rarely ever regretted it because I felt like, hey, you know what, like I slept on it, my mind was clear-headed for a couple days, and I was really feeling it. If you want to like up your game, you could try sleeping on something for months if it's still in the market. That's something that I did. I was really disciplined with myself, and I wouldn't buy something unless I slept on it for months, maybe 2 to 3 months. But let's be reasonable here. I think a couple nights should be okay. All right, number two, narrow it down to one credit card. I think this is a good minimalist tip in general, like less is more. I feel though on a practical level, it's just a lot easier to manage your finances when you feel like you have one credit card. It's all just like there on one statement at the end of the month. But I also feel like from a psychological perspective, if you have like multiple credit cards, it might give you the illusion that you have more than you actually have, which is probably not good if you're trying to stick to a low buy. And maybe you might feel like, oh, I'm not going to buy it on this card, but I'm going to buy it on that card. And then it just makes sticking to your low buy a whole lot harder. But if you feel like you just have like the one credit card, it's like, oh man, I gotta put it on the credit card again, you might be a little bit less inclined to make that purchase. So it's just gonna help you out in sticking to your low buy. Number three, track your spendings. I know tracking spendings, that's like so like unsexy. Who wants to do that? But the thing about tracking your spendings is it will help or show to you how you really are spending your money. You may not think, like $5 here, $3 there, doesn't seem like much at the time, but the thing is like it adds up, and at the end of the month it'll be more clear to you where your money is going than if you didn't track it otherwise. I think that sticking to your low buy, you'll definitely feel a lot more encouraged when you realize that like all those small little purchases do add up. Like that is something that happened to me. At the end of the month, I would like look at like my small snackings that I would buy, at 7-Eleven or like the dollar store, and then I was like, oh, I'm spending a lot of money on junk, and it'd be like a couple $100s. I couldn't fathom like $1 here, $2 there. How did it add up to that? So yeah, track your spendings. It will definitely help stick to your low buy. Number four, figure out what are your necessities. I think that being honest with ourselves, that there's a lot of things that we can live without or feel like necessities. Like I'm just gonna die without my Netflix subscription. I know life would be a little bit harder without your Netflix subscription, but it's important to figure out what are the necessities. Like, that may be like your phone bill, your gas, paying utilities, your rent, student debt, grocery bill. If you set those aside, you'll kind of have like a ballpark of what really needs to be there for the month. Like I need to have X amount of money to be able to pay these things off. And then outside of that, you'll figure out, okay, these are not necessities, but like they make me happy. And then you can kind of budget accordingly. Like, okay, maybe I don't need to have 2 lattes in a day, but I definitely want to have ice cream at the end of the week. So just, yeah, figure out what works for you, and it's going to be different for everybody. Number five, avoid bad debit. When I say bad debit, I know like there's a lot of controversy over what's bad debit or not. Like, is tuition bad debt? Is like your house really an asset? I'm not going to get into that. But what I refer to like avoiding bad debit is just like things that just don't add any value to you. Like that surplus of clothes that you bought on credit card that's just like the tags are still on clothes and it's sitting in your closet and you don't even look at it, but like you gotta be paying interest over it. It's just don't do it to yourself. Like I know it's really easy to just feel like I'm just swiping a card and like I'm not thinking about it, and like this outfit is definitely gonna help my Instagram pop off, but if you want to stick to your low buy, it's kind of like bringing to light and realizing that some purchases are just not worth getting into debt over. So figure out what is bad debit for you and cut it out, because you really don't want to be sacrificing like your financial stability over things that didn't even really add much to your life. All right, number 6, go minimal. I'm not advocating that everybody try minimalism. I think minimalism is a pretty radical lifestyle, and it does have a lot of cons as it does pros. But if you're considering a low buy, I think these things do marry quite well. Having less and owning less will definitely help incline you to shop less, because you're trying to be minimal, you're trying to own less stuff. So it's kind of counterintuitive to be buying more things. So if you want to consider, you could try some aspects of minimalism that might help suit your life. One of the good things about minimalism is that like you cut the excess out of your life. So it's like figuring out what's not important to you and cutting from that. So like maybe you really don't watch TV. So you know what? You can cut out Netflix. You weren't watching TV anyway. Or you know what? Like you don't really care for coffee. So going out for coffee breaks with your like co-workers, not really for you. So you can cut that, and it's going to look different for everybody. So maybe trying a little bit of minimalism here and there might help you along in your low buy. And number 7, pay yourself first. I put this at the end because I actually think it's really important, but I didn't want to make it really at the center point. I wanted more practical tips in the beginning, but I think that paying yourself is really important. I think one of the main reasons I was able to stick to my low buy in the first place was because I was looking at my money in a different light. I saw my money as a tool to grow like my wealth. So instead of thinking, oh yeah, I want to buy these shoes, I actually thought buying these shoes is just taking money away from my nest egg, and I ain't about that. I'd rather have the $30, $40, $100 in the bank than these pair of shoes when I already have a pair of shoes that work well. So paying yourself first was something that really helped me sticking to my low buy, was realizing that I wanted to have like financial health and financial stability over an excess of material goods. I'm not saying you can't have material goods, like I have material goods, but it's like once you pass a certain threshold, then it's just unnecessary. Like you really don't need that much clothes, and you really don't need that much all of that other fluff, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So to help stick to your low buy, maybe you might consider thinking, instead of spending this much money on these things, I might spend the money on myself and putting it towards your retirement or buying stocks or just like generally investing in yourself. Okay, so there we have how to stick to your low buy from a minimalist perspective. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if not, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!